And if you want to talk about the Jeffrey Epstein story, there are a number of people that appear to be assets, not agents. In fact, these deeper, higher level networks tend to be composed of mostly all assets instead of agents. So that way, there's basically no agency fingerprints on the thing at all. Remember, plausible deniability. If Sam Bankman-Fried messes up and gets too greedy and sloppy with whatever the hell he was up to behind the scenes, no intel agents here. It's just some wacky tech bro being a dumbass. The clearest example of an agent in the Epstein network is Ahud Barak, card-carrying former president of Israel, former head of Israeli military intelligence, one of the most decorated members of the Israeli military ever in its history. He's an agent. Even after he retired from officially working for Israeli intel services, he clearly will always work for them, and he clearly still does.
Conspiracy theories are dangerous.
Information is the oxygen of a democracy.
Then you have Galain Maxwell. Not exactly an agent as far as we know, just the daughter of one of the most prolific Israeli spies in history, Robert Maxwell. Here he is introducing Galain to Queen Elizabeth II. I think Galain has probably received some official espionage training and maybe a card-carrying member of Israeli intelligence, but if she is, that's hidden deep, deep in secrecy. So either way, she was an integral part of the network and is probably wondering why exactly she's locked up right now if Jeffrey Epstein didn't do anything and didn't have any help. But anyways, Leslie Wexner was the bankroll for much of the operation, as well as providing a convenient cover for Jeffrey Epstein, posing as a recruiter for Victoria's Secret. It's worth noting, he is still free, total billionaire, living in Ohio. No one's asked him any questions. Leslie Wexner is clearly aligned with Israel in everything he does. He is one of the world's richest and most dedicated Zionist philanthropists. The Wexner Heritage Foundation is massive. Bro has dedicated his entire life to Israel and Zionism, despite being from America and American. And he also bankrolled 2 separate sex trafficking rings, one via Jeffrey Epstein inside Victoria's Secret, and the other Mike Jeffries, CEO of Abercrombie & Fitch, whose operation got rolled up way more clean. But honestly, we don't really have any reason to believe we ever saw even a fraction of the extent of the Abercrombie boys trafficking network, so, case closed for now, I guess. But anyways, Epstein's network played to his preferences, which was young girls. And the critical feature that made it work was women working in it. Ghislaine Maxwell and her second-in-command, Sarah Kellen, as well as others like Leslie Groff, were likely first abused and groomed and then became the recruiters of young girls for Jeffrey and his clients or targets or friends or whatever you want to call them. Sarah Kellen knew all about the operation. She was integral to it, scheduling it all, managing who was where and when, appointments, massages, all the rest of it. Sarah was complicit, and she was never charged with anything, never even questioned under oath as far as I'm aware. She spent the last decade or so hiding in her $5.2 million New York penthouse with her NASCAR husband, except he is finally divorcing her and getting as far away from this story as possible. Good move, bro. If our government wanted to do anything about this case, they would obviously just investigate Sarah. Just ask her some questions. Figuring out who Epstein's targets were is a little more tricky because although the government confiscated boxes of tapes, DVDs, CDs, all from Epstein's properties, lots of files, lots of evidence, we never saw much of any of that evidence that they actually gathered. But going off of what's in the public domain from over the years, we've got a pretty damn good idea of a bunch of them. And most of them, by all indications, were willing participants. It's not like most of these dudes got tricked in the basic sense of the word. They wanted what Epstein was selling. Whether or not they realized they were going to be filmed while doing it and become enmeshed in this network, that's up for debate. But what starts as a little bit of blackmail can quickly become a long and prosperous, albeit demonic and perverted relationship. For example, Leon Black paid Jeffrey Epstein a total of $170 million over the course of 5 years for help with his money, despite being one of the richest money managers in the world. And seeing as Jeffrey Epstein was a money launderer, I presume there's a reason why Leon Black was paying him instead of just a regular bank for whatever those services were. There have also been numerous allegations made against him by girls who were children at the time, and Leon was one of the founders of Apollo Global Management. And if you don't know who he is, Apollo is one of the biggest and most powerful and influential financial institutions in the world, and they have plenty of ties to intelligence and organized crime themselves. But if you didn't know who Leon Black was, don't worry. You're going to know about the next guy. Bill Clinton, the President of the United States of America. Epstein visited his White House 17 times on record, sometimes multiple times in one day. Plus, side note, real quick, the dude that originally let Jeffrey Epstein into the White House to see Bill Clinton, Mark Middleton, just Google how he died. It was obviously a suicide. It was just very creative. Mark was a creative guy. He, hung himself from a tree with an extension cord and then shot himself in the chest 2 times with a shotgun. Look into it. It's a little funny. But anyways, Bill was getting photographed like this in the airport. And at first, maybe it's not that weird, but then you think about it. President of the United States traveling with a dude that we know was trafficking underage girls. One of those girls is giving Bill a massage. The President of the United States, married man, he just goes to the airport with his buddy Jeffrey, and some random 17-year-old that has no relation to Jeffrey is just there to give massages. Is that a situation that checks out? Like, is there any way to explain that away? Like he just didn't know and wasn't getting other services in private settings? Right. When's the last time that you just went and hung out with your friends at the airport and then some random underage girl that no one had any relation to was just there to give you massages? That's totally normal. Well, an even more shocking photo was released of Prince Andrew, one of the most significant photographs possibly ever, in my opinion. This single photograph is enough to dispel Pam Bondi's absurd claim that Jeffrey Epstein didn't traffic or blackmail anyone. You don't even have to think that hard about it. The girl in the photo is Virginia Giuffre. At the time, she was Virginia Roberts. She was 17. In the background is Galain Maxwell, who we know was involved in trafficking girls for and with Jeffrey Epstein, and she's in prison for it. Prince Andrew, a royal, has his hand around Virginia's waist in some random apartment all alone with Maxwell, and apparently Epstein, who took the photo. There is only one reason why this situation would ever happen. There are 0 reasons why some random girl from Palm Beach is in this room at all, let alone being touched like that by the Prince of England. Note that this photo was taken over in Europe. This is not in Florida, right? So in order for a situation like this to occur, so many other things had to happen. Epstein had to have all the relationships and connections to get to know Prince Andrew. He had to buy the plane he used to fly them all there. This photo is not capturing just a moment in the life of a rogue pedophile. Just from the information in this photo, you know that this is the result of years of work and a network of influence and money to get this kind of access for this kind of perversion. If Jeffrey Epstein just wanted to diddle kids on his own, he would never go and do it with the most prominent people in the world. Hello? Like, I'm just trying to keep a secret over here. Let me go find the Prince of England and do it with him and take photos of it. Right? And one of the critical nodes in this network that disappeared deep into the shadows was Peggy Seagal. She was Jeffrey Epstein's access point to much of Hollywood and the celebrity class. She snuck Epstein into parties and got him on guest lists. And if you don't know who Peggy is, she's one of the most powerful publicists in Hollywood. And you wouldn't know it from this photo, but she's over 70 years old in that photo. She was famous for having a book of 30,000 of the most powerful contacts in the world that she would network and invite to parties and premieres and such, all in the Hollywood music industry. She organized Epstein's get-out-of-jail party that got Prince Andrew in hot water and eventually led to him stepping away from his royal duties.
Conspiracy theories are dangerous.
Information is the oxygen of a democracy.
With Republicans, with progressives, with libertarians, because this is not about right and left, this is about right and wrong.
It's so sick that we can't talk about it. Our security is at stake.